Remember this thing, right? This is the brain. And see this? 10%. So all these little crosses that I'm putting now, these little marks, they're all neurons. Now what's a brain neuron? A brain neuron is like a little worker that's working in your head. You have over 100 billion brain neurons in your head. And so these workers, what they do, they work. They get information and they process it. Each one gets specific information and then processes it. And then what they do, they use each other. So it's getting information and it's processing it, and it's using their information, it's processing, it's using that. And so what happens is they're processing information and connecting with each other so they can then solve your goals. Whatever your goals are, whatever your daily routine is, whatever you do every single day, these neurons are working to make sure you're accomplishing what you need to achieve. Here's the problem. When the goals are predictable, when the goals are routine, when you don't even know what your goals are, when someone else manufactures your goals, guess what happens? These 10% neurons, because on average most people use 10% or less, these neurons start getting bored. When your neurons start getting bored, this is a bad sign for the brain. Because when the neurons get bored, guess what happens? You start using less neurons. It's like workers, they get bored, so they start to get lazy. And they start seeking the cheap options, the cheap dopamine, the comfortable choices, the easy, the predictable choices. And then you get decline. And the rest of the 90%, this is the problem, the 90% of neurons that you haven't used for a while, that most people just don't use, and I'll tell you why they don't use them, they're still there, they're just sleeping. So imagine you're running a business and you've got 1,000 workers and only 100 of them are working. The rest of them are just lying down. You wouldn't be a very good CEO. And imagine the 10%, the 1,000 workers that are lying down are getting bored. They're doing the same thing over and over and over and over again because you're giving them the same task over and over and over again. When this percentage of neurons starts to decline, when the brain gets bored, guess what happens? You start dying. You start dying. You start shutting down. And this is what happens when people retire. I say, get the word retirement out of your head. You should never be thinking about retirement, because retirement is basically saying, well, you know what, I'm starting to prepare to shut down. I'm preparing myself to die. And guess what? Your neurons are saying, well, you know, you're retiring now. We should start preparing you for death. And that's exactly what they do. They start shutting down your body, shutting down your system. And all of a sudden you start dying. And so retirement should not be a word. I would scratch that word from your vocabulary. It doesn't exist. You should never seek to retire. In fact, I'm speaking to someone today, he's 92 years old. He wants to talk to me about deep learning. He's got goals. And so what we always must do is seek goals, the goals that give us problems, the goals that will give us problems that we don't even know these problems are going to come. Because they're the problems that excite this group. This group here, the big bulk of your brain, these neurons here, if you can get, not all of them, some of them excited enough that they want to play, excited enough that they want to fight and work and action things, all of a sudden you're going to get some excitement. And these older neurons, they're going to get excited as well because they've got new friends. And all of a sudden now you're building new friendships, you're building new excitement. They want to work together. And boredom goes. All of a sudden, excitement hits the brain. We're excited. So this excitement now starts lifting, and this leads to our decisions and actions. Because we've established a goal, and hopefully that goal turns into an ecstatic goal or an ecstatic desire or a burning desire. And the rest of your brain starts to become more excited because they start to connect with each other. And then all of a sudden your routines have changed, your habits have changed, your practices have changed, your discussions have changed, your mindset has changed because we've changed it into a deep learning machine. And your entire life changes, your professional life, your personal life, every aspect of your life changes because you become a better version of yourself. And when you become a better version of yourself, guess what happens? You increase your own value. That's the game. If you're increasing your value every single day, imagine you're increasing every single day your value by 1%. 1% every single day. You're getting better and better by 1% every single day. Imagine that. At the end of the year, you're 365% better. Think about it. Think about that for one moment. Every single day you're improving 1%. When you increase your value, you're more valuable to the market, you're more valuable to your friends, you're more valuable in relationships, you're more valuable to the people around you. You earn more money. That's how the market works. You increase your value, you earn more money. And then all of a sudden you'll find that age plays no role. Age plays zero role in anything that you do. It's about value. The person that can offer the most value wins. It can be at any age. It can be in your 90s. I don't care. The person that offers the most value wins. And so think about who you are now. Think about the person you want to be. How do you get there? This is the recipe, a formula of getting there. The deep learning practices, which were taught to me, changed my mindset, changed the way I did things, changed the way I spoke, changed my actions, changed my results. And when you do that, your life changes and everything changes. And when you're choosing goals, initially you may choose the goals that you think are your goals. So right now you start a journey and you think, well, I'm pretty good at that, so that's going to be my next goal. What happens is when these neurons start getting excited, these neurons may not like the goals that you have chosen now, and that's okay. Because when they connect with the old neurons and the new neurons, this is when unpredictability is going to happen. All of a sudden, your interests are going to change. All of a sudden, you may get into areas that a year ago or 2 years ago, you might have thought, there's no way I'd be getting into that area because I don't have the skill sets to get in that area. I don't have the knowledge to get in that area. But all of a sudden, because you've grown and developed to a certain point, and your interests have changed and you found that ecstatic desire, because when you have that ecstatic desire, your body just pushes, your brain just pushes you towards that because you're excited and you build up your new habits to push you there. Where the unpredictability comes is then the brain has realised, my God, I really like this. I like this type of work. I like being creative. I like talking with all these people. I like meeting new people like that. And all of a sudden, you jump into a new goal. It's an evolving goal, a goal that you wouldn't have predicted a year ago. Even your relationships change. You start to form new friendships, even with people that you thought you wouldn't have been friends a year ago.